Hello friends, welcome to the video lecture series of the subject Basic Electrical Engineering. Myself Pankil Shah, and in this subject of Basic Electrical Engineering, we have started one chapter that is AC circuit. And in this chapter of AC circuit, we have seen first the generation of an alternating quantity, second some important terms related to this AC circuit, and after that we have seen vector representation of an alternating quantity. So in this video, linking with the previous videos, here I am explaining you the addition of any alternating quantity. And as we have discussed in previous video, we cannot add any alternating quantity in waveform manner because it is very time consuming and it is very tedious method. So in this video, I am explaining you how we can add any alternating quantity in vector form. So we need to convert that alternating quantity in vector form, and then we can do many mathematical operations on that vector quantities. So let's see how alternating quantity is converted into vectors and how it gets added. So to understand that concept, first let's consider some alternating quantities. For example, here we are considering some equations of EMF. Value of instantaneous EMF, that is E1, E2 and E3. And you can see in this three equation of EMF, this three alternating quantities is having different magnitudes. That is EM1, EM2 and EM3. So they might have the same magnitude, or they might have the same magnitude, or they might not have the same magnitude. So here we have taken different magnitudes, that is EM1, EM2 and EM3. Now look at the phase angle of this three alternating quantity. Phase angle of the first alternating quantity is 0 because after theta there is no plus phi, minus phi, plus some angle, minus some angle, there is no angle. So that means our first quantity is our reference quantity, that is E1 is equals to EM1 sin theta. Look at the second quantity, that is E2, and E2 is equals to EM2 sin theta minus pi by 2. And look at the second quantity, that is E2, and E2 is equals to EM2 sin theta minus phi 1. And this minus phi 1 suggests that the second alternating quantity, that is E2, is lagging behind our first quantity by phi 1 angle. This negative sign always suggests that the second quantity is lagging behind our first quantity or the reference quantity. Here our reference quantity is our first quantity and there is a negative angle in the second quantity. So that means second quantity will start later than the first quantity by this angle, that is phi. Now look at the third equation. And third equation is having the positive phi 2 angle. So that means E3 is equals to EM2 sin theta plus phi 2, and plus phi 2 means our second quantity is leading from the first quantity, means our third quantity is starting early from our reference quantity and completes early from our reference quantity. So let's first see these three quantities in the waveform manner. So in the waveform manner, first we need to take the x-axis and y-axis. On the y-axis we will take the EMF, and on the x-axis we will take the theta, that is the phase angle or the time. Let's first draw our first quantity, that is the reference quantity E1. So E1 will be drawn at the reference, and reference means E1 will start at 0 degree and E1 will complete at 2 pi. So let's see our first quantity, that is E1, 0 to 2 pi. So this is our standard reference quantity. Now we need to draw second quantity, that is E2, and E2 is having some angle, that is minus phi 1, and minus phi 1 means E2 will start the angle after the reference quantity by phi 1 degree. So you can see in this waveform our second quantity, that is E2, is lagging behind our first quantity by phi 1 degree. How lagging? So you can say that our first quantity started at 0 while second quantity started after the first quantity at phi 1 degree. Our first quantity is completed at 2 pi, but again our second quantity E2 is not completed yet. It will complete its one full cycle after the phi 1 degree of the completion of our first quantity. So that means this second quantity is lagging behind the first one. Second quantity is starting late by some angle from our reference quantity. Now let's draw the third vector, that is E3. And E3 leads from the reference. So you can see that the E3 has been started before the 0 degree by phi 2 degree. So from 0 it will start phi 2 degree early from our reference quantity. And again it will complete its one full cycle just before the 2 pi. So in this way you can define the lagging and leading vectors. Here E2 is known as the lagging vector by phi 1 degree and E3 is known as the leading vector or the leading quantity by phi 2 angle. So now what if we draw this alternating quantities in vector manner? So it will be quite easy to add that alternating quantities in vector manner. So to draw this alternating quantity in vector manner, first you have to choose any vector quantity which is taken as a reference. So obviously we are taking the first quantity, that is E1, as a reference. So how we will draw the vector? We need to define just some scale and we need to take the magnitude from the first equation and we need to draw a line at the angle provided in that equation. But if we are drawing the reference vector, then it will be on the x-axis. No angle is there, 0 degree. So in the first equation there is a 0 degree. So we are drawing our first vector E1 like this. So this is our first vector E1. Now how we can draw the second vector E2? So E2 is having the magnitude EM2 and it is having the angle in negative. So in vector diagram, negative angle is always drawn below our reference and positive angle is always drawn above our reference. Why? Because every vector diagram is rotated in anti-clockwise manner. And in anti-clockwise, if our reference axis is rotated first, and if our lagging vector is rotated after, then we can say that this is lagging behind our reference. And if you want to define some leading angle, if you have drawn your leading vector just above your reference, then that vector will rotate it first and reference will be rotated after. So you can say that this vector leads from our reference. So therefore, in simple context, we can say that the lagging vector is always drawn below your reference and leading vector always drawn on above your reference. So here this E2 vector is in negative phase angle in minus phi 1. So we will draw the second vector with having the magnitude of EM2 and angle phi 1. So we have drawn our second vector and third vector is in plus phi 2. So third vector will be drawn in just above our reference. So you can see that in this manner you can draw any vectors. Just you have to scale your magnitude, because if your current is having the maximum value of voltage or the current is as a 50 or 100, then you cannot draw the 50 or 100 line in your notebook. So for that you have to just take one reference, one scale, and then you can draw any phasor diagram very easily. So now our main concept is to add this alternating quantity. What if some wants to add all these three EMF, that is E1 plus E2 plus E3? So addition is not easy in alternating waveform of having the same frequency but different magnitude and different phase angles. You cannot add easily alternating quantity in waveform manner because it is very tedious and time consuming. So we are using vector diagram method to add any number of vectors very easily. So basically vector diagram method to add any vector is having two type of method. And first method to add vectors is the graphical method, and second vector to add the any alternating quantities is the analytic method. So graphical method and analytical method. So let's see first the graphical method. So in graphical method, what you have to do first, you have to scale all the magnitudes of your vector quantity, because you cannot draw the 50 ampere line, that is 50 centimeter line in a single paper. So you have to scale, you have to decide the scale of your vector diagram. Then you have to follow the step-by-step procedure to add any vector diagram. So what is the step 1 to draw any vector diagram? So step 1 is take any one vector from the given vectors as a reference vector. Obviously we will take the vector which is having 0 phase angle as a reference vector. And if that quantity is having the 0 phase angle, then that quantity is drawn on the x-axis. and on the x-axis at 0 angle with having the magnitude of that quantity as the, if we are taking the current quantity, then Im1 should be the magnitude or the length of that vector, and angle will be 0 as seen in this figure. You can see that Im1 is the magnitude of this vector's line length and 0 is the phase angle. We have drawn this on the x-axis. Then for the other vectors, what you have to do is you have to start point to point method to draw each and every vector. Means if our first vector is started over here, then second vector's tail should be started from the head of the first vector. So you can see that if second vector is having magnitude Im2 and having some phase angle theta, then you can draw your second vector from the ending of first vector like this. So in this manner you can draw your second vector. Then again by the same manner you can draw your third vector, that is the I3, and the magnitude of this line is Im3 and the angle will be from reference. So in this manner you can draw any number of vectors that you want to add. So here I have drawn I1, I2 and I3 vectors which is having magnitude Im1, Im2, Im3 and having some angles. Now my aim is to add all these three quantities in vector form. So the starting of the first vector and ending of the last vector should be joined together to find the magnitude of your resultant quantity. So in this manner you can see in this figure we have joined the starting and ending of the vectors, and the length of this vector represents the magnitude. You need to just measure the length of this line from this vector diagram and you will get the magnitude of your resultant alternating quantity. Secondly, if you want to find the phase angle of your resultant alternating quantity, then you have to measure the same phase angle here. And if you measure phase angle here from reference, then you will get the phase angle of your resultant quantity. So this was the graphical method. So from this graphical method, the length of this resultant will give you the maximum value of your resultant, and the angle measured over here will give you the phase angle of your resultant quantity. So this is graphical method. But it is not quite easy to use graphical method everywhere. So we are studying second method, and the second method is the analytic method. But before going to the second method, let's understand different form to represent your alternating quantity. So what are that different forms are shown here. So let's say that if for example we have taken some quantity as a current. So I is equals to Im sine omega t plus theta is the equation in the instantaneous form. And we want to define this instantaneous value in different form. The first form is the rectangular form. So rectangular form, in rectangular form this current can be represented as I is equals to x plus jy, where x is the real part and y is the imaginary part. J is showing the imaginary part. So x can be defined as Im cos theta. Im is the maximum value from that equation and theta was the phase angle from that equation. So Im cos theta is the x part, that is the real part, and y part can be found out by Im sin theta. Im is the maximum value of the current and sin theta is the y component. So Im sin theta is your y component. So x and y is having the value as Im cos theta and Im sin theta. So if you calculate this value and put in this x plus jy form, then you can get the rectangular form. If you want to find your alternating quantity in polar form, so in polar form, what you have to do is, in polar form you have to find the magnitude of your resultant quantity. And how you can find the magnitude of your resultant quantity? So in polar form, we can represent our quantity as we have the maximum value Im here. So small I is equals to Im is the magnitude of your quantity Im, and in angle you have to place the theta, either in positive or negative. So this is very simple method. You can represent your alternating quantity in polar method also. Third method to represent your alternating quantity is the trigonometric method. Trigonometric method and rectangular method is just similar to each other. But in trigonometrical method, without calculating any values, we are just putting the equation as it is. That is, I is equals to Im cos theta plus j Im sin theta. This Im cos theta is nothing but the x component and Im sin theta is nothing but the y component. So that are just similar to each other. And the last form to represent any alternating quantity is the exponential. And in the exponential form, I is equals to Im and e raised to j theta, where Im is the maximum value of your alternating quantity you have just in this equation, and theta also you have in that equation, but theta can be put at in raised to e raised to j, and that phase angle. So these four forms can be used to represent any alternating quantity. From these four forms, we will use polar and rectangular form many times in numericals also. So in polar form, our alternating quantity is represented like Im angle theta, and in rectangular form, our alternating quantity is represented by Im cos theta plus j Im sin theta, or you can say that x component plus j y component, that is x plus jy. So now let's see how our vectors can added by this analytic method. So to understand this analytic method, here in this analytic method, you do not have to draw any vector diagram. This is the advantage of this analytic method. Just by putting some values in some equation, you can get your resultant vector. That is the addition of any vectors. So first, you have to express all the vectors in polar form. Means if you have I1, if you have I2, so you must have to convert that I1 and I2 in polar form. For example, Im1 and angle theta 1 and Im2 and angle theta 2. Then what you have to do is, you have to find the x component and y component of each vector. For example, x component of the first current is Im1 cos theta 1 and y component is Im2 sin theta 2. And here for second current I2, the x component will be Im2 cos theta 2 and y component will be Im2 sin theta 2. So basically cos component are the x component and sin component are the y component. Then next what you have to do is, you have to add the x component together of all the vectors and you have to add the y component of all the vectors. So the addition of the x component will be equal to, from here it will be Im1 cos theta 1 and from here it will be Im2 cos theta 2. So two cos components are added together and this is known as the x component. And in similar manner, we have to add the y component, that is Im1 sin theta 1 and Im2 sin theta 2. If we add this two component, then this is known as the y component. So once we obtain the x component and the y component, then we can find the magnitude of our resultant vector from this formula, and this formula is nothing but under root x square plus y square. So under root x component square plus y component square will give you the magnitude of the resultant quantity. If you want to find the phase angle of your resultant quantity, then it can be found by this formula, theta is equals to tan inverse y component divided by x component. So y component we already found, x component we already found, and tan inverse you can do. So by this manner you can get the magnitude as well as the angle of your resultant vector by just calculating the values. No need to draw any vectors. If you want to add your quantities in rectangular form, then first what you have to do is, you have to convert your alternating quantity in the rectangular manner like this. You can see that A is equals to x plus jy, A is equals to x plus jy, and B is equals to w plus jz. If you want to add this to alternating quantity in rectangular form, then what you have to do is, you have to just add the real component and you have to just add the imaginary component. So real component is x and w, so x plus w will be the real component and y and z will be the imaginary component. So plus j, y plus. So this is the answer of addition of any two alternating quantities in rectangular form. So in this manner you can add any alternating quantities. So this was the vector addition. But one question may arise, that is how we can convert the polar form into rectangular form and rectangular form into the polar form. So let's see how we can convert our quantities from polar to rectangular and rectangular to. So if our quantities are given in polar form and we want to convert it into rectangular. So first let's see, if our quantity is given in polar and we want to convert it into rectangular, then what you have to do is, in rectangular form our standard form is x plus I1. So to find the x, what you have to do is r. where r is the maximum value of your quantity, and cos theta, theta is the phase angle. So r cos theta will be your x component and r sin theta will be your y component. R and theta will be given to you in the polar form, where r is the magnitude and theta is the phase angle. So in this way you can find the x and y, and by x plus jy formula you can get the rectangular form. And how we can find the polar form from rectangular form? So if rectangular form is given, that is x plus jy, and you want to find the r and theta, then r can be obtained as r is equals to under root x square plus y square, and theta can be obtained as tan inverse y by x. So in this manner you can either convert your quantity from polar to rectangular and rectangular to polar. So in this video we have seen that how the alternating quantities can be added by the vector diagram method. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned.